Welcome to the new book releases for the week of March the 10th. I went into this list thinking that it was going to be smaller, and then I realized I just hadn't actually finished going through all my possibilities. We are not smaller than last week, if not much, at least if we are. There will be timestamps per each genre that we talk about, though, so that you can skip around to whichever one might be your favorite. I hope you do find something off this list, and I'm Morgan, by the way. Let's go ahead and get started. First up this week is going to be fantasy, and we're going to start with the Dungeon Crawler Carl series. Number 4, The Gate of Feral Gods by Matt Dinneman, is being released in Trad Publishing this week with all new covers. I don't know where it is or why I'm pointing over there. These books are already available under KU, but they are being republished, and I do believe each of the Trad Publishings are also getting an additional chapter snippet at the end within the Pineapple Express. That's not right. Pineapple Cabaret. Dungeon Crawler Carl, though, is following Carl and Princess Donut, as the world has gone through kind of an apocalyptic doomsday scenario where aliens came to Earth, flattened all the buildings down, said that our planet belonged to them for their own mining corporations because we didn't file the proper paperwork. But Earthlings do have a chance to earn back our planet if they travel into the dungeon and complete all 18 levels. Then we can get our planet back. And hijinks ensue and craziness. And it actually does get kind of deep and dark in the first book. It's not just all fun and games. We do have some moments. Okay, we're going to move on. We're not going to talk about that one too much. Our next one up is in the same world that this author has previously been writing in, expansively. And I kind of wish he would stop, because every time I see a new one, I get the urge to maybe go try it and give it another shot. This is the first of a new series, though, taking place more in the past of this world. This is Gallifile by Terry Brooks, and the series is The First Druids of Shannara. One of the most iconic structures in the four lands is Paranor, the fortress home of the Druid Order. Legend holds that it is erected by an elven leader known as Gallifile Joss. But who was this Gallifile, and how and why did he choose to establish this center of magic and learning? Within these pages, we meet the real Gallifile, following him from a friendless teenage orphan stranded in the human world to a powerful adult master mage studying under the infamous recluse Cogline. We learn of the forces that shaped him, those he loved and those he lost, those who aided him and those who stood against him. I must stay strong and read summaries or something. I don't know. Our next one is a conclusion to a trilogy with another author who's written a few books in this world. This is Tomb of Dragons by Catherine Addison, the conclusion of the Cemeteries of Amalo trilogy that takes place in the world of the Goblin Emperor. The first book of this trilogy started when the young half-goblin emperor Maya sought to learn who had killed his father and half-brothers. He turned to an obscure resident of his court, the prelate of Olus and the witness for the dead. Sara Selhar found the truth, though it did him no good to discover it. He lost his place as a retainer of his cousin, the former empress, and made far too many enemies among the many factions vying for power in the new court. The favor of the emperor is a dangerous coin. Kellar's new skills lead him out of the quiet and into a morass of treachery, murder, and injustice. No matter his own background with the imperial house, Sellar will stand with the commoners and possibly find a light in the darkness. Then we have one that I'll just mention briefly, because this is book 14 in the series that I recently realized is not the same as her other series. I've been looking at all the titles, thinking they were in the same series. But book 14 in the Encrypted series is Installment Immortality by Shauna McGuire, and this is an urban fantasy series, more than the other one, I think, and it actually sounds kind of cool. Cryptids, noun, any creature whose existence has not yet been proven by science. See also monster. Cryptozoologist, noun, any person who thinks hunting for cryptids is a good idea. See also idiot. And it's following the Price family through these books because they have spent generations studying the monsters and working to protect them from humanity and humanity from them. And now I have another series that I might want to try. The last one for fantasy is Rose of Jericho by Alex Grecian. Something wicked is going on in the village of Ascension. A mother wasting away from cancer is suddenly up and about. A boy trampled by a milk cart walks away from the accident. A hanged man can still speak, broken neck and all. The dead are not dying. When Rabbit and Sadie Grace accompany their friend Rose to Ascension to help take care of her ailing cousin, they immediately notice that their new house, Bethany Hall, is occupied by dozens of ghosts, and something is waiting for them in the attic. Now, this is the same author of, I'll put the name somewhere, but I don't think they are directly connected, though the name there, Rabbit, maybe. Into our romantasies, though. From there, we have the third book in the in the Kindred's Curse saga. Yes, that's the actual name of the series. Heat of the Everflame by Pango. And the first one is following the spark of the Everflame. When old secrets catch fire, everything will burn. In a mortal world colonized by gods and ruled over by the descended, their cruel offspring, Dim Bellator yearns to escape the insular life of her poor village. Her mother's sudden disappearance and the discovery of a dangerous secret about her past offer Dim an unexpected opportunity to enter the dark world of the descended royalty and unlock the web of mysteries her mother left behind. This series seems to have captured a lot of people's attention last year. A newer one, though, is going to be The Witch Who Trades with Death by C.M. Allegheny. This one will probably have some trigger warnings associated, and I'm debating how to say this word, if I should just say it, or... A young witch is forced into a position for her imperial captor. She finally breaks free to find a life of her own, but even those with the power to call death cannot outrun their past. All witches must serve the cruel and immortal Emperor Yamato, but after 4 years of terror and abuse, Kana not only kills one of his favorite courtiers with her magic, but also discovers the secret of his power and immortality. He's been making deals with death, and now so is she. Armed with magic that she doesn't fully understand, Kana flees the empire and stumbles into a small mountain town filled with fierce warriors that ostracize her for being a witch, despite her using her abilities to heal their sick and injured. There, her magic and courage are put to the test as she is forced to stop running and fight back against the emperor that wants her dead. And there are far more complicated things with her new magic than you're initially led to believe. We'll move into regular contemporary romance. Okay, this first one is a bit less regular. It's a bit paranormal, but Go Luck Yourself by Sarah Rock. This is the second one in the Royals and Romance, but following different people, of course. Someone has been stealing Christmas's joy, and there's only one clue to the culprit, a single shamrock. With Cole busy restructuring Christmas and their dad now having a full midlife crisis in the Caribbean, Chris volunteers to investigate St. Patrick's Day. His cover, an ambassador from Christmas to foster goodwill. What could go wrong? Everything, it seems, because Prince Lachlan Patrick, Crown Prince of St. Patrick's Day, happens to be the mysterious student that Chris has been in a small war with at Cambridge. They attempt to play nice for the tabloids, but Chris can't get through one conversation without wanting to smash Locke's face in. He's infuriating, stubborn, loud, obstinate, hot. Wait, hot? Like it actually says that. They both sound so cute. It's that one, and then The Night Before Christmas, I think, was the other one. This other one is also paranormal romance. Fan service by Rosie Dannon. The only place small-town outcast Alex Lawson fits in is in her online fan forum she built for The Arcane Files, a long-running werewolf detective show. Her dedication to archiving fictional supernatural lore made her internet famous, even if she harbors a secret disdain for the show's star, Devin Ashwood. Never meet your heroes. Sometimes they turn out to be the worst. Ever since his show went off the air, Devin and his career have spiraled, but waking up naked in the woods outside his LA home with no memory of the night before is just a new low. It must have been a coincidence that the once-in-a-century wolf blood moon crested last night. The claws, fangs, and howling are a little more difficult to explain away. Desperate for answers, Devin finds Alex, the closest thing to an expert that exists. If only he could convince her to stop hating his guts long enough to help. I think it's going to be so funny. I hope it is. Then we have Story of My Life by Lucy Score. This is the first of her new series. Hazel Hart was a successful romance novelist until a breakup drives her straight into writer's block. Having failed, and failed some more, to deliver her new manuscript, she's hiding from the world behind the wall of an old takeout containers until her publisher lays down the law. If she misses her next deadline, it's the end. Desperate for inspiration, Hazel impulse buys a historic home online and flees Manhattan to a tiny Story Lake, Pennsylvania. Upon her dramatic arrival, involving an incident with a bald eagle, she discovers the charm of her new home may be slightly exaggerated. The house is a wreck, and the town is struggling after the biggest employer shut down. Also, since her raccoon-infested home came with a seat on the town council, our introverted heroine is stuck with a front-row seat to all small town shenanigans. I don't think that's how that works, but okay. The author did say that she wrote this inspired by all the fans who say they just want to escape to the fictional small towns of shows and books. We move, though, from there into thrillers. Completely normal. First one up is Claire Darling by Callie Kazumi. She's been ghosted, but she won't be forgotten. Claire is excited to drop off a surprise workday lunch for her fiancé, Noah. It's their anniversary after all, but when the receptionist tells her that no one with Noah's name works there, Claire thinks there must be a mistake. Noah isn't picking up her calls. Her texts go unanswered. It turns out Noah has a different life, one with a beautiful girlfriend, a beautiful house. Claire was never really in the picture. Desperate to speak to Noah and convince him to return to their dream life, Claire plunges into a nightmarish journey of obsession that submerges her deeper into the murky waters of her own past, a past dominated by a manipulative mother who shattered her sense of self. I question if she was all just imagining their relationship with Noah. Because was he really her fiancé? I don't know. One of their reviews makes it almost more questionable, seeming like just boyfriend. Then we have a more historical fiction suspense. The Jackal's Mistress by Chris Bogjalin. Virginia, 1864. Libby Stedman's husband has been away for so long she can barely conjure his voice in her dreams. While she longs for him in the night, fearing him dead in a Union prison camp, her days are spent running a gristmill with her teenage niece, a hired hand, and his wife, all the grain they can produce requisitioned by the Confederate Army. And then she finds a gravely injured Union officer left for dead in a neighbor's house, the bones of his hand and legs shattered. Captain Jonathan Weybridge of the Vermont Brigade is her enemy, but he's also a human being, and Libby must make a terrible decision. Does she leave him to die alone, or does she risk treason and try to nurse him back to health? And this is supposed to be based around an actual family history story. We move into YAs now with a thriller again. How to Survive a Slasher by Justine Pasella Winans. Very sorry, all of those probably came out wrong except Justine. Few people can say they faced the infamous Satorville Wolfman and lived, but CJ Smith can. She doesn't talk about that though. CJ has survived the horror movie that is her life by following one rule: blend in and stay out of it. But that's hard to do when your trauma gets turned into best-selling book series. The Slaughterville books are a true crime phenomenon, documenting the Wolfman massacres that changed CJ's life forever. CJ hates everything about the books and their fans, but at this point she's just grateful there aren't any more murders to write about. Until one day, when an unpublished Slasherville book shows up on her doorstep, predicting new Wolfman killings. CJ's sure it's a bad prank, but then the events in the book start coming true. And when CJ breaks her one rule, the final girl, the person who, according to the book, was supposed to stop the Wolfman, ends up dead. Suddenly blending in and staying out is not an option. CJ will have to use everything she knows about the rules of horror to make it out alive. So this one sounds intriguing. This one sounds very intriguing. Last up for the week is She Waits for You Beyond the Dark by Christine Simmons. This is the conclusion of the Death Games duology that's Jumanji-like but Japanese horror inspired. 4 years ago, 5 kids started a game. Not all of them survived. Now, at the end of their senior year of high school, the survivors, Owen, Madeline, Emerson, and Dax, have reunited for one strange and terrible reason. They've been summoned by the ghost of Ian, the friend they left for dead. Together, they return to the place where their friendship ended with one goal: find Ian and bring him home. That's all for this week's new book releases. If there's any other ones coming out this week that you want to let people know about, feel free to drop them in the comments down below. Maybe, though, you are able to find a new series or book that you want to go pick up, try out. If you liked it, though, please hit the thumbs up. I might have already said that one. Subscribe so you can come back every week for new book releases, book reviews, I hope you're finding something great to read today, and I'll see you in the next one.